This is why we track politicians' stock trades. Now, Debbie Wasserman Schultz made a suspicious purchase of Viasat 6 months ago. Now, she sits on the Military Construction Subcommittee, and since then, the stock is up over 200%. Hi, I'm Ace, and I built a 400k plus portfolio in just under 5 years in my early 20s by using Buffett's value principles, my bachelor degree in finance and investments, and the real estate cycle. And one thing I've learned is this: when politicians trade, you pay attention because they often know what's coming before we do. Now, here's the one truth: politicians aren't just passing laws, they also sit on subcommittees that get insider level briefings on defense, healthcare, and technology. And when they make big trades, those moves can sometimes look a little too well timed. Now, Viasat is the perfect example here. Now, Viasat is a satellite and defense communications company, and on paper, they do look quite exciting. As a matter of fact, they just secured contracts tied to military and global connectivity, which explains some of the recent hype. But here's what happens when you test it against my Buffett values, principles, and metrics. Now, firstly, this stock has a PE ratio of well above 50, nowhere near my fair value PE ratio of 20. Now, this tells me I'm paying way too much for today's earnings. The same goes for their balance sheet and profitability as well. Now, when you compare this to the same kind of businesses that Warren Buffett always buys, which has to have firstly wide moats, consistent margins, and balance sheet strength. Viasat, however, does not meet that standard. However, politicians like Debbie Schultz, they ride the momentum because they know the contracts are coming. She buys the stock, and months later, it doubles and doubles again. So is this even illegal? Not necessarily, but it does raise questions. How much of an edge do these people actually have? That's why platforms like QuiverQuant and Capital Trades actually exist. They track the public disclosures that politicians are required to file. Anyone can see what stocks senators and representatives are buying. And time after time, those trades beat the S&P 500 by a wide margin. Now, politicians, like it or not, often have access to better information than the rest of us. And that's why tracking their trades can often give you signals on what sectors or companies might be moving next. But here's the caution: we're near the end of the real estate cycle. That means even politician-backed trades will face volatility in a downturn. Following them blindly is very, very dangerous. The smarter play is to use their trades as one piece of the puzzle, then wait for those same names to come down to real value levels when the market resets and when they have a good margin of safety. Now, I do share breakdowns like this, including how to use signals like politician trades and line them up with Warren Buffett's value investing and cycle timing every week in my free newsletter, link in bio. A question: do you think politicians should even be allowed to trade stocks while in office? Comment down below, I'll be reading.